There was a moment when I realized something strange inside me. Nothing had happened clearly. No one had said anything directly. But my body was already different. I felt a subtle weight, a silence that wasn't calm, a feeling of alertness that I insisted on calling an exaggeration, and even trying to rationalize. I knew that something there wasn't in harmony with me. Maybe you've felt something like this before. Everything seems normal on the outside, but inside something starts to tighten. And this doesn't happen by chance. Your emotional brain is constantly working, especially a part called the limbic system, which is responsible for identifying danger, safety, and emotional patterns. It analyzes microsignals in milliseconds: tone of voice, facial expression, posture, pauses, and subtle inconsistencies before you even think. Your body has already compared that moment to past experiences, traumas, memories, and recorded events. What you call anxiety is often just early perception. The body perceives first, and that's science. The problem is when the mind starts trying to control that perception. Psychology explains that the mind creates defenses to avoid emotional pain. Then you start to invalidate yourself. It's all in my head. I'm exaggerating. There's no reason for this. But that's not maturity. It's a protection mechanism. Accepting what the body feels means looking at truths that may hurt. And to avoid facing them, you adapt. You remain silent. You mold yourself. But while your mind tries to rationalize, your body keeps warning you. Not all discomfort comes from trauma. Sometimes it comes from growth. You change. Your frequency changes. Your perception changes. And there is a delicate moment when your soul has already understood, but your life hasn't yet kept up. And with that, your own body feels this misalignment. It's as if it were saying, "This no longer resonates with who you are becoming." Not out of panic, but out of self-awareness. It is inner wisdom, subtle spirituality, ancestral life. Not spoken in rituals, but lived in the silence of your own body. And your body doesn't speak in words. It communicates through sensation, tightness in the chest, shortness of breath, unexpected fatigue, tension in the jaw, desire to leave, inner silence. In neuroscience, all these signs are responses from the autonomic nervous system. In psychology, they are marks of emotional memory. And on a deeper level, these are warnings from your own conscience asking for alignment. They are not defects. They are guidance. And when these signals are ignored, the body doesn't fight. It becomes heavy, tired silent. And perhaps you have already felt this. An exhaustion that is not just physical. A nameless sadness. A desire to disappear for a few moments. But look, what you feel is not weakness. It's your body asking for care, asking you to stop, breathe, because continuing to violate yourself hurts more than facing your own truth. And this is the most delicate moment. When the body no longer wants to be pushed, it wants to be listened to. Perhaps now is the time not to react, but to observe. Observe what you feel when something tightens. What changes in you when you ignore this signal? What your body is trying to tell you in silence. Stop and ask yourself gently, what inside me is asking for space? What have I been enduring beyond what I can bear? Where am I abandoning myself to continue belonging? Understand that self-observation is not judgment. It is reconnection. It is allowing feeling to guide without guilt. And there is a point where you understand. It's not about controlling the world. It's about respecting what happens inside you. When you acknowledge what you feel, your inner sense begins to reorganize itself. You begin to move with more truth, with more presence, with more coherence. And little by little, life adjusts to what you finally decided to honor. The difference, in this case, lies between exaggeration and awareness. Exaggeration shouts, confuses, pressures. Awareness whispers, guides, quiets. Exaggeration is born from the haste to flee. Awareness is born from the courage to look. And when you act out of exaggeration, you get lost in noise. But when you act out of awareness, you find yourself in silence. And it is precisely in this silence that the body begins to trust you again. Perhaps you need to watch this video more than once to absorb everything that was said here. But let me remind you of something important. You are not alone. What you feel is valid. What you perceive deserves respect. When you listen to your body, you come home. And when you come home, life begins to make sense again.